Hello everyone. Today we're talking about the BANS. I already talked about them in French yesterday, but a lot of people have been asking me on Discord and on YouTube if I could do this in English, so here we go. So first, I think the most important thing to remember is that the committee are like humans. So it happens that they make mistake. It's okay. You can disagree with their decision, but it's not a reason to treat them badly. Like you can just be nice to them, and believe me, they will be like. If you use constructive criticism, there is better chances your point goes through, and like they listen to you. And if you just call them with birds' names, they probably won't like it, and it's not really cool for them. And remember, they will do mistakes. Obviously, we also do mistakes, so it's fine. So yeah. So I think to understand the bands, we need to understand the format. But first, we're just gonna go through quickly what they told us. So basically, they just say that they wanted to like slow down the format a bit, and that like they want to reduce the number of non-games. So first, the first announcement is just like spacecraft and vehicles are legal in Commander. So I think it's probably the best they could do. Wizards told us like a week ago they wanted it to be this way. So I think it's fine. The committee follows same idea. If at some point it's broken, you can just ban the relevant vehicles. And if it's just like broken for a more meta reason, you can just change the rule. So it's fine. So now there are like 4 cards banned. So Blood Moon, Dark Ritual, Force of Will, and Underworld Breach. And I think I prepared like I have like this board, and I can write on it. And I'm just gonna explain a bit where does it come from and why it's like it is. So first, they had like 2 hypotheses, which are really, really important. So the first one was like Storm is too strong in the format. Storm is too strong. So you might disagree with this, but I think it's a fact. Like I think nowadays everyone agrees. It was a bit, let's say, fuzzier a month ago, but it's been months since Storm is the best deck. Let's say a lot of people were saying Storm was the best deck. Obviously, there was also a lot of propaganda, mostly by Storm players, saying that Storm was fine. There was also a bunch of Storm players just saying their deck was broken. So today we agree Storm is too strong. Like imagine we're last Sunday. Storm is too strong. Storm has the best conversion rates. It was terrible at the CDF. Like it was really, really above the rest of the format. So this is the tier 0. And then you have like other decks, which are fine, but Storm is clearly better than all of them. And it's also very warping. Like the whole format was defined to beat Storm, and yet Storm still succeeded. Like it's really, really weird. Like it's really, really strong. Storm is the best deck. So this is the first hypothesis. The second one is like you want Storm to remain playable. Must remain playable. So this one is a bit like more subjective. Like it's less of a fact. It's just the committee decided that Storm must remain playable. There are a lot of reasons to that. The first reason is like to avoid just having mid-rangey snooze fest. If you have like this one good deck which doesn't need board to win, you can't just pack 1,000 Vras and 1,000 and thinking that you will be okay. So basically, it can be used to keep the format honest. Like you need to respect Storm, so you need to lower your curve. You can't play like 5 mana spells which just turns the game over. I think it's a good thing. I really like playing Storm. Obviously, the gameplay is really bad when you're on the other side, but I think Storm is a very cool deck. So I like this idea. So this is where Dark Ritual is banned, exactly. It's for the bingo. So yeah, so I think this one is really like up to what you think about it. You might disagree with that, but it's one of the hypotheses. So every decision they made on this ban list also depends on this hypothesis. It's really important to understand that. You might disagree with it, but like the reasoning comes from these two hypotheses, which states that first, Storm is too strong, and two, we want to keep Storm in the format, which is like some tension between them, right? Because if you just ban Storm, like you could just say, hey, let's ban Tendrils of Agony. But if you do that, obviously Storm is not playable anymore. So yeah. So those were where they wanted the format to be. So now, how do you do that? So you need to nerf Storm without completely destroying it. So you have like 5 cards, which are like, let's say, candidates for the ban. First, you have Rograk. Rograk is obviously the main engine of Storm. It's what gives its explosiveness and its power and like how you can abuse free spell in your command zone. You have obviously Demonic Tutor, which is probably the best card in the format for now. It was already the case Sunday, but it's probably the it's probably the best card. You also have Dark Ritual. You also have Culling the Weak, which is basically the Rograk special Dark Ritual. And obviously you have Breach. So now you could say, okay, so we need to ban some of these cards. Maybe a single would be nice, but if you ban one of these cards, if you ban a single of these 4 cards, Rograk is still the best deck in the format from a large margin. Like, it's not close. Like, even if you ban Demonic Tutor, Rograk is the best deck. Even if you ban Dark Ritual, Rograk is the best deck. So you cannot ban a single of those. So you need to ban at least 2 cards. You could say, okay, we could just ban Rograk. And this was like my personal, let's say, opinion was to just ban Rograk. Obviously, it's like all those cards are broken. Like you can't say these cards are fine and fair play and everything. They're like pretty strong. They're very they're probably the best cards in the format as well. So yeah, but I think banning Rograk was a possibility. They didn't go for it. They went for, okay, so we can't ban a single of those. What we're trying to do, we're gonna ban. So Breach is like overall the best card in the lot. Let's say like the card which is really, you cast Breach, you win the game basically. It's a bit more complex than that. You have like a ton of deck building restriction, and it's not the case in every deck. Like if you play Breach in like an Narset deck, everyone is fine with that. If you play Breach in VV, it's also quite okay. Obviously, it's very strong, but yeah. Demonic Tutor is probably the best card. I really was sure they would ban Demonic Tutor, but they actually banned Dark Ritual, and I think it makes sense. So what they're saying is like, okay, so Dark Ritual leads to a lot of non-games. So it's not only because of Storms. They're like, okay, so let's try to do like 2 at the same time. So we are banning Dark Ritual so that we also nerf all the unfair deck in the world. Now Reanimator is a bit weaker because they lost Dark Ritual. It's also the format becomes more predictable because you don't have like this, oh, suddenly I have 3 mana you did not expect. So they decided to ban Dark Ritual and Breach. And I think everyone is fine about that. I don't think this is where the problems come from. So now they ban Dark Ritual and Breach. Like I said, I think for Storm, this is not the good way. Because by banning Dark Ritual and Breach, you reduce the consistency of Storm, but you don't reduce the explosiveness. If you haven't seen the stream yesterday, I played Rograk Control, which was obviously a Storm deck, and like we 5-0, and it wasn't close. Like, not really, quoi. Like, I mean, it was a bit close against Hatebear Tribals, but against everything else, it was pretty free. And I think the deck is still super strong, and we still had a lot of turn 3 or turn 4 kills, like really a lot. Because obviously it doesn't change that. Like, you still have access to Culling the Weak, you still have access to Demonic Tutor, but what it did was like, now you cannot play Storm if you're not playing Rograk, because you cannot play Storm without Dark Ritual. Okay, you need a mana ritual in your deck. Dark Ritual is banned. The only remaining good one is Culling the Weak, and Culling the Weak only works if you're playing Rograk. So now the only Storm deck you can play is Rograk. So this is what I disliked about this ban. It's like it doesn't let you play the let's say the Storm decks which were fine to face. Like when you're playing against War, it's not as bad as when you're playing against Rograk Tevesh. You feel like you're doing a bit more. When you're playing against Rograk Tevesh, you really feel like powerless. You feel like you can't do anything, and it's basically, yes, you can't do anything. So I think it doesn't really change that. The idea was like the consistency will drop enough so that the deck is less of a threat. So you cannot just expect everyone to play Storm, so you don't need to take against Storm, but Storm players will obviously enjoy this moment. And I'm pretty sure Storm player will have like their best win rates like right now, when people are ignoring Storms. So yeah, so I think this was not the good way to do it, but I still think it's fine. Like Dark Ritual was obviously a messed up card, Breach is obviously a messed up card, so it's not like these bans are like out of nowhere. But now there is a problem. If you ban Dark Ritual is used obviously in Storm decks, but it's used in a lot of decks. It's also used in fair decks. It's similarly to like when they unbanned Ogak 2 months ago. Dark Ritual is the best tool for fair deck to beat counter spell decks. Because when you're playing against Aragorn, and Aragorn is just slam its commander on turn 4, and now your opponent has Force of Will in his hand, or Subtlety, or Force of Negation, or whatever free spell you want him to have, you have this problem of like, okay, so now I'm playing like my 4-drop to, let's say, face the king, and obviously I take the free counter magic and I lose. Dark Ritual was one of the best cards to avoid that, because your opponent slams Aragorn, you just go Dark Ritual. Now if he counters the Dark Ritual, you play your 3-drop. If he doesn't counter the Dark Ritual, you play 2 3-drops. He has to counter one of them. If he doesn't, he's in trouble. So he cannot free counter both of them, unless he has a really, really good hand, obviously, but yeah. So I think by banning Dark Ritual, you need to ban a free counter. I thought they would ban Subtlety, but actually they banned Force of Will. But it is because of that. So the ban of Dark Ritual makes you that you need to ban Force of Will. Like you could argue for another free spell, but you need to ban a free counter magic. You have to ban a free counter magic if you ban Dark Ritual. And you also ban Breach. Like Aragorn and Tempo decks overall will have like such a great time in a format without Breach and Dark Ritual. Nothing can now like take them out of, let's say, take them by surprise. They know everything. They know how the game is gonna play out, so they can just do their stuff, and it will be not a very good experience. So I think banning Force of Will made a lot of sense. I talked about it with like Leo a month ago or something like that, where I told him like if they wanted to ban Dark Ritual, I really thought at the time they needed to ban Force of Will. I think I said Subtlety, but it's basically the same argument, because yeah, you have this problem, and Force of Will was on the discussion for a while, so it doesn't like surprise me at all that it's eventually gone. But now you have all these cards banned, and obviously you have like Yoshimaru very happy because you ban like 3 of the best cards against Yoshimaru, the one who trades cards for tempo in Force of Will, Dark Ritual, and also Breach, which was like the best win con against Yoshimaru. So now you have an issue, is like Yoshimaru might become a bit too strong. So I think because of that, you need to nerf Yoshimaru. And I think their plan was really clever, because they didn't say it was because of that, but they decided to ban Blood Moon. And I think it's really smart, because Blood Moon was a ton of non-games. Like you couldn't play around Blood Moon. You can't. Even if you're playing a 2 colors deck, you can't play around Blood Moon. Because if you want to play around Blood Moon, you need to do that during your deck building, and your deck become way worse against everything. Like you cannot play 15 of each basic and say, it's fine, I will cast my 1-mana spell on curve. You won't. You just won't. So it was a lot of non-games. Also, the only deck which against which you really couldn't play around Blood Moon was Yoshimaru. If you're playing against Flame War and he's playing a Blood Moon in this deck, given this deck is not that fast, you can just fetch around. And if on turn 2 or on turn 3 you cannot double spell because you decided to tutor up basics, it's fine. Like you cannot say Southeast plus Fatal Push on turn 2 or on turn 3, it's okay, it's okay. You will cast your Southeast the turn after or your Fatal Push the turn after, it won't be that bad. Against Yoshimaru, it means you lose the game. Because it doesn't give you any respite. Like you don't have a single turn where you can like just do something average and expect to win. So I think Blood Moon was really good in Yoshimaru, and so I think this is a really nice nerf to Yoshimaru. Because you cannot nerf Yoshimaru by banning a legendary. It's like impossible because there are like 20 of them, so it doesn't make sense. You cannot nerf Yoshimaru by banning Yoshimaru, it just bans the deck straight up. So I think just banning Blood Moon was really, really smart. And also, it's been like 5 years. I say everyone that I really dislike Blood Moon, so I think it was a pretty good thing they did. Obviously, it's like, I understand that so some people are also saying, oh, Blood Moon was fine to punish greedy mana bases, etc. It was not punishing greedy mana bases. It was punishing mana bases, greedy or not. Like you can't play, the greedy mana base is the one who can't cast its spells on curve. It's not the one who plays around Blood Moon. Like if you're playing around Blood Moon, you're having a greedy mana base because when your opponent doesn't have Blood Moon, you just don't cast your spell either, and it's very, very bad. So I think it's a good thing overall. I really hoped like Harbinger and Magus would go as well, but we're not there yet. But it's really a good thing. Like to me, the bans overall was like in a great direction. Like I said, I think they messed up with Storm. I think they didn't. I think the bans they made won't make Storm more, let's say, won't let Storm be a fine deck in the format. I think Storm will still be very strong, and and most importantly, it will still feel very bad to face Storm, because the games they removed from the Storm decks are not the game you really was really angry about. People were angry about the games where like turn 2 you'll die or turn 3 you'll die, and these games still exist. And obviously a bit less often than before, but you still have Culling the Weak. Culling the Weak is a better Dark Ritual in Rogue Tevesh. It's better than Dark Ritual. Like you're making 4 mana instead of 3. Obviously it just means that you need to play Rogue, but it's so much better. Like 1 mana is a lot of mana. And like, yeah. And I think another way would have been to maybe ban Culling the Weak and Breach and keep Dark Ritual and Demonic Tutor, and in this case you maybe didn't need to ban Force of Will, but yeah. Anyway, it was like really, really rough, and I think overall it was, yeah, I think it was a good ban overall. Like really, like those are the 4 ban cards are cards which were problematic for a while. They were really feel bad. I really loved playing Breach. Well, it sucks. I can't anymore, but and also there is something like I think people don't necessarily realize. The Duel Commander is not based on a democracy. Like it's not how it works. So there are formats which are like let's say Archon is a format. I think it's German at the beginning. I'm not sure exactly, where everyone votes for like every decision basically. So if you want a card ban, you can vote for it, and so on. And the idea was like this format is really fun. Like there are like cool stuff. It's really clear what you're saying. Like their objective is really clear. They're like, okay, we want the majority to decide. So it's really, really clear. Unfortunately, the format is not balanced at all. Like it's not balanced in any way, because obviously there are a lot more legal cards, so everything is like a bit all over the place. But it's really fun. It's a really cool format, and if you'd rather like have, let's say, more of a decision in what you're playing, you can just play another format. There are a ton of Magic formats which are fine, and this one is literally what you want. If you want to vote for every card, just go play this format. You'll see it's a pretty fun one. Personally, I have more fun in Commander, but it's like just my personal point of view, and everyone is different. But yeah, you have other options. Like it's not all black and white. Also, Yeah, I think I had something else, I'm not sure. Yeah, so basically they really did their best. Remember that they don't want the format to crumble. Like it's not what they want. Sometimes they make mistake. Maybe they made a mistake Monday. Like I said, I think it wasn't like the good way to handle Storm, but I think their bans were still really good. But I mean, maybe they had made mistakes in the past. They will make other mistakes in the future. No doubt about that. But it's like they're humans, right? Everyone makes mistakes. It's really hard to not to, and you can like just tell them nicely and try to be a bit constructive, and most importantly, telling them why it's a bad idea, and not just saying, "You suck. Why have you done that?" Like, yeah. But anyway, that's all for the bands. So I think the TLDR is like the bands are great. That they're not as good as I would have loved them to be, but it's still really fine. I won't cry those cards. Maybe I'll cry Breach a bit, but I mean, I'm not a reasonable person. If I were reasonable, I would just say that Breach should have probably gone a year or two ago. I just really like the card. But yeah, like Force of Will won't be missed, even if you think you will. Believe me, very soon you will be happy it's not in the format. Blood Moon is probably like the best card to remove. I think this was for me it was like the card I'm the most happy to see on the ban list was Blood Moon. Like really, like this card made no sense to me in the format, and I really happy to see it go. I really didn't think it will be like gone on Monday, and it really made my day. So yeah, Dark Ritual, I was fond of the card also, but I mean, it's a card when you cast it, it's obviously great. When your opponent casts it, it's obviously bad. I'm really surprised that the Dark Ritual went before Demonic Tutor. I really was for sure Demonic Tutor was gonna get banned this time, but maybe next time. So yeah. Anyway, thank you everyone for the video. Yeah, I'm gonna swap to French for the league. But if you're interested in everything, like you have my Twitch in the a link to my Twitch somewhere, and a link to my Discord. If you ask questions in my Discord, you can ask them in English. I will answer as best as I can, as good as I can. Obviously, I don't speak English, like my accent is terrible, let's say, but it's fine. And yeah, if you have questions, feel free to ask them even in the comments. Okay, thank you everyone. See you.